They are live in the middle of a very, very severe snowstorm. And lucky we have Ted and Stephen here because we might not be able to dig our way out of it. Now, you should know that I was a master of snow removal. In fact, I was on the front cover of one of those silly magazines with George Pataki. I'm going to say 1985 or 86, congratulating us for the way we picked up snow in New York, where all the surrounding states were still snowed in 3 and 4 days later. And then we ended up on Saturday Night Live and opened it. And, you know, we said our little thing. George said his thing. I said my thing. And then I said, you know, live from New York. And George said, live from New York State. And I looked at him and I said, George, it's not New York State. It's New York City. That's why they come here. He knew that. It brings in all the money for him. But we had a great time doing that. So we're now on the fourth night of Hanukkah. On the earlier show, we lit the candles for the fourth night of Hanukkah and reminded everyone of the significance of that feast. Now, the significance of that feast is twofold. First, it was the Jewish people under the Maccabees, and it's recorded in the Bible in Maccabees 1 and 2. Now, if you have a St. James version of the Bible, you're not going to have that. You're not going to have that. And those are the 10 commandments there to the right. And there, as you see, there are 4 candles lit. Shama's candle does not seem to be working, the one in the middle. We got to get that Shama's candle going.
It's faint, but it's
faint. Okay, good. Okay. And so the Jews were under the domination of the Seleucid Greeks. But not only were they under the domination of the Seleucid Greeks, they had taken over their temple and defiled it. By that, I mean they held pagan worships and possibly sexual practices and all kinds of things. Just to blaspheme. Against great odds, the Maccabees led 2 battles against them 2 different times and defeated them. And then they wanted to purify their beautiful temple because they had it back. And they said, well, before we can hold services here, we have to purify it. We're going to light candles, oil. We're going to take oil, this very special holy oil that we have, and we're going to light the candles with the holy oil for 8 days. And after the 8 days, then the temple will be purified and we can begin to hold our services here. And they did that. And the first night, they recognized that they didn't have enough oil. Not enough oil was left for the candles. And they said, and they prayed to God to deliver the oil. And they came back the next day and there was enough oil. And the next day, and the next day. And today's the 4th day, and there was enough oil today. And when they got to the 8th day, they prayed at the prayer of thanksgiving, and Judas Maccabeus decreed in the book of Maccabees that every year at this time, the Jewish people should celebrate. So when people say that Hanukkah was established, you know, as an answer to Christmas, that really is technically really, really false, because it existed. I think this was 165 before Jesus. It existed 165 years before Jesus was born. Now, what happened, as Bethany Mandel points out in a beautiful article in the Post today, over the years, particularly recently, the merchandising of Christmas, the commercialization of Christmas, for which many Christians are very disappointed, affected some of the Jewish people. And the kids go to school together, and all of a sudden, I grew up with lots of Jewish friends. And, I was getting presents on Christmas, and then they were getting presents for Hanukkah, except they would get presents on 8 nights. And there were a lot of my Christian friends who started, they're just kids, right? Maybe we should become, we get 8 nights of presents. And I said, but your parents give you like at least 7 or 8 presents, right? Okay, so we can stay Christians and they can stay Jews. And we had a Greek Orthodox friend, and he didn't. Greek Orthodox, maybe he was Armenian Orthodox, because he celebrated Christmas on January 7th. So we used to go to his house for another Christmas celebration. So it was really great. And that's when we were just kids. We all got along. I've never, I shouldn't say this. I mean, historically, I've studied it. Theologically, I can't say I don't understand anti-Semitism, but I really don't. And I really don't understand how Christians can be anti-Semitic. I mean, if you are carrying yourself around as a believer in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, he told you what he wants from you. He wants you to forgive everyone. And this blood libel thing, not only is that directly in contradiction of the teachings of our God, but it's completely insane. How can the people 2,000 years ago accept responsibility and pass it on? What are they, witches? You got to believe in witches if you got this blood libel crap going on. And this used to be the thing that got the people out of the churches on Palm Sunday, and when they read the Matthew gospel about his blood be on our hands and on. So many, many popes have written brilliant letters about this. This is something the Catholic Church has never countenanced, this blood libel thing. So let's start. We spent on the other show, we spent a lot of time on Brown, and we're going to go back to it because there were interesting developments there. But this has been an absolutely terrible week, and the ugly truth that we are in a war with the Muslims is true. Now, when I say the Muslims, of course, I don't mean all Muslims, but I do mean more than a few, and they're spread out all over the world. And they have taken an unacceptably large number of our people and slaughtered them. We, of course, remember and will never forget September 11th. The woke, the Democrats, the communists, the pro-Hamas, silly people, and the people who don't want to offend Muslims try to make it as if that was just an attack. In fact, they try to blame it on George Bush. I mean, the reality is those people that were killed in that building, and the people that were killed at the Pentagon, and the people that died in Pennsylvania, they were killed in the name of Muhammad. They were killed based on a teaching that goes back to the 6th century. The invocations to violence in the Quran are well over 110. When they tell you the Muslim religion is a religion of peace, it is just the opposite and needs to be changed. And as long as we indulge that fiction in order to make them feel good, the ones that aren't so good are going to kill us. And they, the other Muslims, who are very good people and wouldn't kill us, just don't do a terribly good job of disciplining the others. In fact, they find all kinds of contortions and rationalizations to blame us for what Muhammad taught his people and what Muhammad has been doing with his people in almost every century since then, which is slaughtering people to spread a religion. Question: is it a religion? That's a pretty big question, isn't it? Is it a religion? If it teaches you to kill as a way of spreading the religion, is that a religion? Or is that the opposite of a religion? Is it a satanic cult? Well, unless they extricate themselves from the whole second half of the Quran, that's what it is. Well, tonight the president is going to speak, and we think he's going to speak on the economy. He'll probably say some things about our soldiers who were killed by Muslim terrorists, by followers of Muhammad in Syria, two wonderful young men. We just saw pictures of them coming back. Well, I don't know. Well, it would be worth showing a little of that. Again, Nate Howard and Edgar Brian Torres Tavar, and then Ayad Mansour Sak, who was the translator on his second or third tour of duty with us. That they were all honored today. The president and his administration came out there and conducted a beautiful ceremony, very different than the disrespectful ceremonies that Biden did, that had the families hating him for what he did. And he spent a good deal of time with the families too. He didn't rush back. And I would say he's pretty busy. He's got the possibility of a war in Venezuela. He's got a war in Ukraine. He's right at the edge of trying to solve. He's got a big speech tonight about the economy, which is troubling many of his citizens. And I don't know, probably 10 other things that I can't even think about. But I never had any doubt that he wouldn't spend a half hour or an hour, maybe longer, with them, no matter what. Because the reason Donald J. Trump is a great president is because he has great love for America, the same reason Ronald Reagan was. So let's take a look at the ceremony. It probably is good for us to look at that ceremony, Ted. Can we? It just gives you a chance to remind yourself, because we talk a lot here about. I mean, what we're here for is to preserve our freedom after the long, terrible nightmare of the Democrat destruction of it. I mean, we went through hell, starting with the Russian collusion and all through a complete desecration of our system of justice, of our government. And we're in the process of putting it back together again and facing what we hadn't faced before, but our founding fathers told us we would possibly have to face it, which is to make sure that our freedom is not taken away from us from within. Right. And the Democrats sure as hell want to take away our freedom from within. What the heck do you think socialism is all about? Taking away freedom.
So this is from earlier today.
Little that they are not going to, the way they did this, the families did not want to be televised. So the families are, I don't know exactly where they are. I'm assuming they're looking at it from the angle that we're looking at it. On the side, the president here and the military there. Wouldn't be a bad idea while you are quietly reflecting on this to say a prayer of thanksgiving to God that we have men and women like this and families who are willing to undergo the crushing devastation that this brings to them. And they do it because they love America. You can see that the president went to military school, can't you? In the way that he walks.
Right.
And there he will line himself up perfect, got himself lined up perfectly. Now they're going to stand there and they are going to salute the three caskets, the three bodies that passed them by. Now, what you should know is that the only people allowed to salute are members of the military or veterans. If you're not, you got to put your hand here. And so the president, of course, is the commander in chief. So you're not just a member of the military, he is the military. So I don't know who came first, but the three again are Nate Howard, Edgar Brian Torres Tavar, both sergeants, and Ayer Mansour Sak, 4 children, grown. These are families that are devastated and suffering that sacrifice to keep you, me, and our children free in a world that wants to take that from us with an ideology that's been attempting to take that from us since the 6th century. We've got the twin enemies of Mohammed's religion interpreted strictly in the words of Mohammed, and Karl Marx's satanic communism. And they find an ability to come together. They find an ability to come together. They are now marching to get the second of the caskets. I think we can.
Okay.
I think we can.
They are not. I mean,
Well, we can watch the second one too.
we should.
I know we have a guest.
Mike, we have a guest on now. Not just going back to another just horrific story that we're covering out of Australia.
Well, you know what I mean, I'm sure I don't have to tell you what happened in Australia, but on the first day of Hanukkah in Australia, a beautiful Jewish community, and there's always been a very small but very strong Jewish community in Australia, and they were celebrating, I believe it was the 31st time at Bondi Beach, the first night of Hanukkah. Now, Bondi Beach, if you don't know Sydney, is one of the major places to see in Sydney. It's one of the more beautiful beaches in the world. If you're going to see three things in Sydney, you're going to see the Opera House, the bridge, and the Bondi Beach. And for 31 years, without interruption or difficulty, Jews have been allowed to practice this very, very joyous holiday. I remember the first year that I was mayor, I lit a Torah in front of the Central Park, the entrance to Central Park, with a rabbi, and I did it every year on the first night of Hanukkah. Froze my you-know-what off, but I did it every year, and I love doing it. So we have with us.
That's right, Mayor. So joining the show now is Chaim Moshin. He's now in Miami, but he's a friend, a longtime friend of the famed Rabbi Eli Schlanger, who's being remembered as a great leader of the Jewish community. Chaim is a friend of his, and he joins the show now. Welcome to the show.
Chaim,
we have to meet you under these circumstances.
Chaim, you have our prayers, our condolences, and obviously for the rabbi, for the others who lost their lives, and for those who have been put in permanent shock as a result of something that should never happen. This insane hatred of the Jewish people should have been over a long time ago, and to be dealing with it now, I have a great anger about that. But tell us about the rabbi.
Thank you for having me. First of all, Mayor Giuliani. Rabbi Schlanger was a very, very special individual, both to me and to our entire community in Sydney and in Australia as a whole. For the past 18 years, he arranged this event for Chabad of Bondi at the beach, and he dedicated his life to the community and to every individual out there that he met. He was a person that lived by the way that he died. He lived the truth that he lived with his entire life, and ultimately he left this world living the exact way that he believed for the sanctity of God. We're talking about a man that would drive 3 hours to help another individual. Over here, we're looking at a picture of Rabbi Levitansky and Rabbi Schlanger, who both lost their lives on this day.
They both were killed by those Islamic terrorists, right?
Yes, and they both worked together at the synagogue in Bondi as part of the Chabad of Bondi community and dedicated their lives to helping others. These are people that truly rose above. They didn't care about anyone's negatives. It was about the positives. It was about loving another person. It was about sharing. It was about giving. Rabbi Schlanger would drive 3 hours to a prison to meet with a single inmate just in order to spread love and to give hope to someone. He would do anything he could to help another individual. I personally have been a close friend of his since I'm a child, since I'm 14 years old. And many of my friends are very close with Rabbi Schlanger. And the loss that we feel is tremendous, both on a personal level and on a communal level.
Oh, my. Now, he was a follower of Rabbi Schneerson, I assume.
He was a shliach of Rabbi Schneerson of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, a man who stood in every facet of his life to help another person and to spread the light and to spread good and to only do deeds that would benefit this world and make the world a better place. And for him to be taken in such a horrific way with his family, and his wife was also injured as well in the shooting. And there's a very powerful video of Rabbi Schlanger putting on tefillin on the day of the incident, together with a girl named Matilda, who also perished in this terrible tragedy, a 10-year-old girl.
Oh.
And Rabbi Schlanger was putting tefillin on this girl's father. And it really shows the happiness and the beauty of Rabbi Schlanger in helping another person and doing a good deed with another person and celebrating what it means to be alive and celebrating what it means to be a Jew and celebrating what it means to help others. And it really personifies his life in a beautiful way, how someone who dedicated his life to God all his life was taken at the ultimate level of sanctification in God's name.
Can you explain to us what a Shabbat is?
Shabbat. Chabad. Chabad is an
Chabad, okay.
Chabad is an organization which the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson of blessed memory, established and founded in the United States of America and spread the word
In Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and spread the word of what it means to light up this world and
What a
simply
great man.
to benefit the world and to help all the people of the world, Jew or non-Jew alike,
Yeah.
to make this world a better place. He loved and cared for every human. Every person in humanity was someone that was dear to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And every person was dear, I can tell you, to Rabbi Schlenger, just the same. This is a man that stood up and represented what it meant to be a person who lived by the way of the Lubavitcher Rebbe and dedicated his life to the Rebbe's mission of spreading light and helping others. And this is a man who gave it his all 100% of the time.
So I met him when I was mayor, first time in 1989, and then I'd say altogether about 5 times. I can remember each one, and I consider it on a level with meeting Mother Teresa or meeting the Pope. I met 2 popes. I can't explain it. He just emanated something that made you feel better, and it made you feel more at ease with God. I can see there were a lot of rabbis. There was just one Rabbi Schneerson. And he is revered throughout the Jewish community, even beyond Orthodox Jewry. I mean, rabbis who are of a different persuasion will quote him and use his teachings.
Absolutely. And Rabbi Schlenger was a member of the Chabad Chassidim, a shliach of the Rebbe, who spread and emanated the teachings of the Lubavitcher Rebbe around the world and dedicated his life to helping others, and ultimately gave his life for the sanctification of God's name and doing what he believed, spreading the shlichus, spreading the message of the Lubavitcher Rebbe to the entire world. And the Jewish people have lost a tremendous
They
leader.
have. I mean, look, the loss of any priest, any rabbi, any minister is a horrible thing. But like anything else, there are some priests but there are some that are just exceptional. And the people in this movement, I will tell you as a non-Jew, are exceptional. The good they did around the city with the trucks they would send around the city and the ambulances. And I mean, they were just such beautiful people. And you are correct. They helped everyone. If you got to know Rabbi Schneerson, you knew it wasn't just about his own people. It was about people. It was about God's people. And what an exceptional man. And I imagine, and all of the rabbis taught by him, I've always found to be truly exceptional.
Rabbi Schlenger truly lived his life as a person that lived larger than life, as a person that gave his life, his entire life, and truly dedicated every minute of every day to helping another person. Me personally, when Rabbi Schlenger would call me to say hello, he'd be apologetic on the phone that he didn't call me more often, that he should be there more for me, that he should call me more often, that he should take more time to call other people. This is a person that spent every single day thinking, who can I call today that needs a bit of pick-me-up? Who can I call today that will help them have a better day? What can I do to make this world a better place? And the loss is tremendous, not just for us, but for the entire Australia, for an attack like this to happen to our community.
Yes.
Celebrating.
Well, I remember the pogrom in Crown Heights, and it was a young boy from the Australian community that was killed. And I was with them the second night of the pogrom, spent my time in the international headquarters. And I had quite a time getting out. I wasn't the mayor then. I wasn't the U.S. attorney. As a private citizen, I had my own little car and one person. And we had to fight our way out. And I could hear it. I could hear people yelling, "Go get him, he's a Jew. Go get him, he's a Jew." And I've prosecuted 2 Nazi war criminals. And it all came back to me when I heard that. It all came back to me. And we've got to stop this. We have got to stop this. And what do you, I hate to ask you this, but do you have any words of wisdom for us on how we stop this insanity?
There's just too much hate. There needs to be more love in this world. There needs to be
Yes.
more kindness. There has to be more people going out and helping others. There has to be more people doing good deeds for one another. It's the holiday season. It's a time for people to come together. It's a time for people to spread light and spread love. And that is the way that we fight this, through not allowing people to come and create these horrible acts that can essentially change everything for so many
Yes.
special people's lives. We can't allow them to take control. Rabbi Ullman, Rabbi Schlenger's father-in-law and the leader of the Bondi Jewish community, said at the memorial, at the eulogy for Rabbi Schlenger, he stated that for the past 18 years, Rabbi Schlenger has arranged the event at Chabad of Bondi at the beach. And for the past 31 years, we have had the event at Bondi Beach. And we will celebrate and join together on the 8th night of Hanukkah with all of the community in Cindy under Rabbi Schlenger, under Chabad of Bondi Beach's banner. We'll be lighting the candle together, as we will not allow
watching for that. We're going to be
we will
watching.
not allow our light to be exterminated, and we will spread the light, and we will overcome the darkness.
Thank you very, very much, because I do think, Chaim, that you really conveyed the beauty of the rabbi, of Rabbi Schneerson, and of the very special kind of Judaism that he. It's very special. What the Lubavitchers have done and what they spread is beyond any one religion. It's a way of life for all mankind.
And it's important to note that we're talking about an entire family that dedicated their life, not just to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but to the people of Sydney, to the Jewish people of the world, to the people of the world. We're talking about a husband, a wife, and children who have all been horribly affected. His wife was injured in the shooting. His children have lost a father. And this is a family that dedicated their entire life to us and to helping the entire world and to making the world a better place. And we've also gone ahead. There's a GoFundMe that's been launched to benefit Rabbi Schlenger and his family. And we would like whoever can to please help and contribute and to
tell us where. Is there a place we can?
Yes, it's a GoFundMe campaign. I have sent the link over. Hopefully we're going to be able to put it up.
Yeah, we'll put it up, and we'll put it up for the next several nights too. Okay, because we're going to be covering. We're going to be covering this. We're going to be covering this until we feel that we've made some change in Australia, because I think the government there has been very lax and participated in this happening. But that's my view. Well, God.
Thank you very much, Mayor Giuliani.
Thank you for doing this. I know it was difficult, and I really appreciate it very, very much. And I think my audience does too.
And we appreciate the love and support of everyone here in the world. And
well, you should know, people of goodwill, you have it in abundance.
Thank you. Thank
you,
Mayor
respect
Giuliani.
for the Jewish people. You're a core, a rock of our Western civilization. We can't let that rock be at all harmed if we want to survive. Thank you.
And we have a short, we have a video here. I believe it's from 2024. For those of you who want to hear from Rabbi Eli Schlenger.
To my fellow Yidden, this year has been.
I'm gonna try to reformat that.
Why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we'll have it all fixed up.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll be right back after these messages.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news, even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax, channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly, where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are...
Rudy, you were smiling in your sleep.
I know the perfect gift for Christmas. Go to rudy.coffee. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
Rudy, you were smiling in your sleep.
I know the perfect gift for Christmas. Go to rudy.coffee.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal, 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax, channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly, where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Welcome back to America's Mayor Live. I was quite moved by that interview with Chaim, and also you should know that I have a history with the Lubavitchers and with Rabbi Schneerson and with the Chabad, and it's a very good history of among the people beyond my own resources and commissioners and people that worked for me and volunteers and that turned the city around, which I did not do myself. I did with thousands of people. There were certain organizations that were critical and that you could count on. And Rabbi Schneerson and the Lubavitcher community and the Chabads that were all throughout the city were always there. Whatever I needed, whatever was necessary, a building came down and we needed places to put people, they take them into their houses. this was very, very much like Catholic Charities under Cardinal O'Connor. And the person who realized it more than I did was Cardinal O'Connor, who advised me as I was preparing to run for mayor again that I should take advantage of this community, that they are extraordinarily good people, and that the religious differences, which are easily understood as a transition which you agree with or you don't, but there's no reason to have any anger about it. Their outlook on life and on taking care of people, the cardinal would equate to the missionaries, the Jesuit and the Franciscan, and in my case, the Montfort Fathers, missionaries who went out to the third world. And, they preach the faith, but they also bring modern medicine and life-saving devices and civilization and culture. And I know that all has gotten mixed up in colonialization and all of this nonsense. Teaching people how not to die in large, large numbers by drinking water that shouldn't be used is not colonizing. It's saving lives. So I know we have all of this, and sometime we'll go through this colonization thing. And with every process, every human process, there are wonderful things that happen and bad things that happen. And colonization is one of those things that had terrible things and good things that happen. And in many cases, particularly as practiced by the Western civilization, the humanitarian Jews and Christians, it was turned into something very, very good. And this was one of the men who knew how to do it. So once again, they picked on the wrong one. I guess there are no right ones to pick on. They picked on the wrong one. So now if the president does talk about the economy tonight, some of these columns that were written today and yesterday to advise of it, I don't remember the president really reading too many of these when I spent a great deal of time working with him in 16 and 20. But his people do. And of course, some of it gets through to him that way in their advice. First of all, I think they're making it much more of a crisis than it is. And what we're talking about is the economy. So a man that I respect tremendously, and I refer to him quite a bit and use him usually to agree with and sometimes to slightly disagree with, Daniel McCarthy, says basically he has to boost the economy or he is going to lose. Now, it's strange. I agree with him, but not with the finality and the, like, this is the one occasion to do it. It would be good if he did, but he's not. This is a process that has to work out over a period of time. And Daniel is a brilliant man, and I do not claim to in any way be smarter than him, but maybe I lived through this and he didn't. I went through this. So if I think of where I was at Christmas time of my first year in office, I had been hit with a second deficit in our budget that had been hidden by the crooked Democrats. And I had to do another major cut. And by the time I went into my first Christmas, there were very few people that had any hope that I'd be elected again, except me, Peter Powers, Abe Lackman, and those of us who put together not a short-term, a couple of little things stitched together economic program, but a major revision of the city. And I knew if it didn't work, I'd be thrown out of office. But I knew if it didn't work, there'd be no city left. So I didn't have much choice. And my great campaign manager told me, you know, you don't have a choice, just do it. And it all makes sense. It's all logical. Cut, reduce taxes, even if you don't have enough money to do it. And just pray that the areas where you reduce taxes, you're going to regain more revenue. And I did pray, and I don't remember exactly when it started to turn around, but it did go into the next year. It turned around before the people realized it did. And by the time I ran for re-election, we had our own little minor morning in New York, morning in America, like Ronald Reagan had. This is what the president is going through. He needs to explain it to people. He needs to explain to people because he's so abrupt and quick. There are things that have to be done quickly, but they play out over time. So he did the tax reductions. You haven't felt them yet. You're not going to feel them until next year. That extra money doesn't get pumped into the economy until next year. He's done the readjustment in all of the money that we are wasting on health care. Do you really think that our health care money, I mean, like 50% of it helps anybody but the crooked Democrats? You're going to find that out. But please, trust me, let's operate on that right now so we can straighten it out. It does no good to send money to the Somalian community in Minnesota so they can send it to Al-Shabaab. It doesn't get a cancer operation. It doesn't get a child treated for illness. It doesn't deal with Alzheimer's. It doesn't deal with tuberculosis. It doesn't deal with it. It deals with a bunch of people who have become potentates. And it's more than a few, it's a lot of people. And it has spread from Minnesota Somali community to Maine Somali community to Ohio. They got it. They figured out how to steal here like they steal in Somali, which is a completely corrupt country. I'm not attacking these people unnecessarily. I'm pointing this out to save our country. So the money that can be saved so that people that really do need health care are going to get it. Otherwise, we're going to destroy it. That's what they're fighting for. And the Democrats are fighting for votes. I think it's going to happen, and I think we're going to go into the next year with that cut taking place. The minute that cut takes place, they're going to have to get rid of all these people that have phony doctors and phony illnesses who don't even exist. We're talking about bare minimum, just in Minnesota, $1.5 billion. If we keep doing this, we'll destroy ourselves. And maybe this is why they're doing it to us, because a lot of them are communists. So we won't be able to defend ourselves against Red China. Now, there are some good developments in Red China. Germany, which Merz is a complicated guy. I can't make him out completely, but he wants a divorce with China because China is like doing business with the mafia. I don't know how often I've told you that, but when they come in, they see you need money. Nobody else will give you money because you're not a good applicant for a loan, or at least not on the terms that you want. And instead of getting you to the point where you realistically reestablish your business or your government operation, they give you the money and they put little clauses in. And then the day comes when all of that goes bust, and they come in and say, we now own your business in Germany. And that's after they've already stolen all your intellectual property. Merz knows that. He wants to kick him the hell out. Thank you. And we should help him as much as we can. I know the relationship with Frederick Merz did not get off to the best start with the president or with me. Not that I have a relationship with him, but I kind of do back up to the president. But this is worth exploring. Germany is still potentially the dominant economy in Europe. It hasn't been performing that way, but it's got all the elements with some straightening. Well, let me put it this way. If I were told I have to straighten out the economies of Europe, I would start with Germany. Because it would be they get it the most. They may have a lot of radicals, but they have an awful lot of very smart people, and they've been there. They've been there as a dominant economy. It's a little like what we can accomplish in Venezuela if we get rid of the animal who's running it. Now, China is backing off the port deal. You know what they want? What they want in order to get the hell out of the Panama Canal is they want BlackRock to turn over to them just about every port in the world. So they won't have the Panama Canal, but they'll have every port in the world. Now, I know, Mr. President, you know this. This was taught to us both by George Steinbrenner. This is the reason Ronald Reagan walked out of Reykjavik. If I spend 3 or 4 months negotiating with you in good faith, right, and we got all the terms on the table and we walk away and we shake hands, Ted, we got a deal. And you come in and say at the very end, no deal unless you give me every effing port. You've been planning to do that from the very beginning, you scumbag. And there's only one way to deal with it. Well, there's another way we can deal with your Chinese people in the canal under the treaty that we have with Panama. Because if we determine in our own judgment and in the judgment of the President of the United States, it is not a war. He doesn't need Congress. We can just go pick you up and throw you out. And by the way, I got a whole bunch of guys that have been practicing that. And it's not going to hurt. We're not going to shoot you or anything unless you want to get shot. We're just going to come in. We got these nets. We're going to put you in the nets and we're going to throw you out. We're going to take your equipment and we're going to move it out into the Pacific or the Atlantic or someplace. And then we're going to surround it with ships. And if you want to come back in, we'll blow you out of the water. Now, we don't want to be hostile, but that's what we're going to do. Because that canal was not given to Panama so it could become a fortress for communism. That's the way you have to deal with them. Please read my book. Maybe the most important chapter in that book is Stand Up to Bullies. It works. We know the opposite doesn't work. You can see it with what's going on with Putin and how he's pushing us around. I have to mention this. It's probably a cheap little thing on my part, but I never liked the guy. I never liked George Clooney. I never liked him as an actor. I never liked him. I think he's a swishy, pushy, jerky, jackassy, silly guy that uses too much aftershave lotion. Clooney's wife helped to write the Constitution for a terrorist organization known as the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is the grandfather of Hamas. The Muslim Brotherhood participated in the killing of Sadat. The Muslim Brotherhood has overthrown the Egyptian government twice. And the Muslim Brotherhood is the reason that the now president of Egypt, who is our ally, Sisi, will not allow the Palestinians in Egypt because Hamas is a creature of the Muslim Brotherhood. She wrote this vile, violent, barbaric, Muslim insane terrorist organization, their constitution. And then she entered a prosecution and indictment of Bibi Netanyahu and his defense minister. And that's the one that Mondami wants to enforce if Bibi goes to New York. You see? Communists work together. Now, Clooney says, well, I don't know. She does her thing and I do my thing. So let's assume that Clooney is what I think he is. A guy who can memorize lines and is a silly dope. That's what I think. I've never thought he was a good actor. I really don't. I've never seen any real humanity. This is not, Marlon Brando or James Stewart or a silly guy. But this wife is dangerous. The Muslim Brotherhood is a murderous organization equivalent to a mafia family. Maybe they've killed more. We've added 5 countries to the travel ban, 15 to a partial travel ban. Laos, Sierra Leone, Palestinian Authority, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, where they're killing all the Christians, by the way. South Sudan was established. They split up Sudan to save the Christians. And it worked for a little while until the Muslims smelled the Christians in South Sudan and went down there and started exterminating them. And nobody will stand up for the Christians. It is quite possible that the religion of Muhammad in recent times, I'm not talking about history, has killed more Christians than Jews. Now, they make a much bigger deal out of killing the Jews because the Jews are a much smaller group that you can pick on. And then you can turn people against them because of the horrors of the historical nature of anti-Semitism. You take what they call, I guess, tropes and these things that are built into insane history. Jews own all the banks and Jews own all this and Jews own all that. That's always been totally ridiculous, by the way. They own all the banks. But in any event, the reality is that the travel ban is necessary because these are the places that send the people into our country that want to bomb us. I don't want them here. In fact, I don't want anybody here for a while. I really think we had too many people come in and we don't know who the hell they are. It could be you want to go really, really low, bare minimum 14 million, more likely 18, possibly 22. And we do not know who the hell they are. No more for a while. Let's see if we can get along on what we got. We need a couple of specialties. Let's go get them. I like the H-2 visa done right, not done to bring in Chinese communist spies. And I'm happy to have the H-2 visa administered by Kristi Noem and Donald Trump and not the traitors who were doing it. But this travel ban, which is how I became involved in the Trump campaign in the first place in 2015, is absolutely necessary to protect us from the desire of a millions and millions of Muslim religious people who want to destroy Christianity and the Jewish religion. Do you know Michelle Tafoya?
Mhm.
So she says she's going to run maybe in Minneapolis. Now, she's a good sports reporter.
Yes, she is.
And she has been on politics too. I've heard her.
Yes,
And I think she's a very smart woman.
she is.
This would be a nice combination for our candidate. For governor.
Well, that would be an amazing 1-2 punch, as they say.
I meant to get Mike on tonight, but let's try to get him on tomorrow night. I'd like to get his views on
Right.
her. 'Cause he knows, he knows Minnesota better than we do.
Mhm.
So why the heck should we be,
Right.
even though we love to do it, we love to speculate on what we don't know about.
Yeah.
Why should Ted is just like me? He does the same thing. Stephen is much more careful. Stephen is much more, I also noticed that Stephen likes to be contrary. He likes to take the contrary view so we can think about
He
that.
does.
And Stephen doesn't know that I appreciate that. There would be times when I was mayor that everybody agreed with me.
Right.
And it was obviously the right thing to do, I thought. And then I'd stay up at night and I'd say, but the only way I'm going to find out. So I'd come in the next day and pretend that I was against it.
And then say,
and
oh,
then-
Mayor,
and-
you're
and-
right. I'm against it too.
No,
How
but
else are
then
you gonna
you know
flush
who
it
I
out?
could count on to do it. And then they caught on to that. But then I could count on Denny doing it for me.
Okay.
I would tell Denny,
I
they
love
want to get rid of the horses because the horses are dying and all this other stuff. And there's a lot of support for that. I don't think we should get rid of the horses. First of all, I don't think they torture these horses. I think they take care of them. And I think these horses are happier than most horses because they have something to do. And in any event, I think it's a beautiful thing for New
More
York.
horses. I'm on
So
the pro
Denny,
horse.
Denny, you would be the guy they'd always figure would be like for the horses. So you come out the other way, and let's see if we can switch these guys. Let's see if we can get some argument here on the other side. And Denny was brilliant at doing that for me. That was Dennison Young, who was my one of my very best friends. But also, let me see if I can describe all of the positions. He was, when I became U.S. Attorney, he was the number 3 person in the U.S. Attorney's office, then the number 2 person in the U.S. Attorney's office. When I went into private practice for 4 years, he was my law partner, like this. When I became mayor, he was my counsel for 8 years of more litigation than any mayor ever did. And then we went into business together and we established a world renowned security firm. He was my counsel. We then joined a law firm called Bracewell and Giuliani and built it to a very large law firm in New York. And Denny was with me during the pandemic, lived with me during the pandemic, and succumbed to an illness and died. And I miss him every day. But everybody needs a Denny. And I miss him. Venezuela, we're blockading it. Everybody thinks tonight the president's going to do boo, 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 boo. I don't think so. But I do think we're taking that guy out. And if you ever have any reason to worry about why are we doing it, why aren't we doing it? Yeah, drugs. Yes, they're all important. Most important thing is kick China out of the Western Hemisphere. James Madison, there's Dennison Young. Could be James Madison. He read Madison. Used to quote him, come to think of it. Kind of a personality like Madison.
I wish I met him. I just missed him.
If men were angels, you wouldn't need governments. But Madison and Monroe, the Monroe Doctrine is Monroe, but Madison possibly is the architect of it. And Jefferson, I mean, it starts with the Barbary pirates in Africa. I mean, Jefferson would be considered an isolationist, except the isolationists took us into our first foreign war to kill the Barbary pirates. He invented the Marines, right? And he acquired more territory for this country on his own without authorization because it was the right thing to do.
Right.
You have to know when to hold them and you have to know when to fold them.
Great song.
So we're going to stop early so that, is the president on time?
Yes, sir.
Is he starting?
He has begun.
Have we put on our thingy in there?
We have.
Okay, so
And
now
I'll just to give you a little indication, we obviously haven't listened to it, but the Chiron on the stream says, text econ to 45470 for a White House flash poll. And it sounds economic, but a little bit broader in nature from what I've listened into so far. But obviously we've been here.
okay. I want a prediction, and then tomorrow night I am going to buy dinner for whoever gets this right. How long is it going to take, Stephen?
41 minutes.
41 minutes. Maria, how many minutes? Go tell her I'm taking a poll.
Okay.
I'm
Ted?
gonna say 38 minutes. Oh wait, 51. He's
You
gonna
want to
go.
go? Oh, you're going over.
Yeah.
What did she say?
She said 45, but it seems like he's actually reading from the teleprompter.
Yeah, that'll stop. So I'll take the over 1 hour. Okay. So tomorrow night you'll find out who the winner is. Stephen is 41 minutes. Maria is 45 minutes. Ted is 51 minutes. And RWG is 1 hour. And
Months ago, I inherited a mess.
Oh, I
And
know.
I'm
What a
fixing
beautiful
it.
set, right?
When I
was-
took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans.
our great president.
This happened during a Democrat
we-
administration.
every
And it's
day,
when we
thank
first
God,
began hearing the word.
that you gave us to him,
Affordability.
saved his life and gave us
Our
to him.
border was open,
And we
and because of
always
this,
pray
our
for you to
country
give
was
him
being
guidance
invaded
because
by an
we know,
army of
like all of us, he's
25
nothing without
million
you.
people, many who came from prison.
So God bless America. And let's listen to our great president. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it.
Been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that If they build in America, there are no tariffs. And that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen, AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it. 1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world, and that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interests to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%. In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward. And I used the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stopped ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up, but now they'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible. It's called Most Favored Nation. And no president has ever had the courage or ability to get this done until now. The first of these unprecedented price reductions will be available starting in January through a new website, trumprx.gov. And these big price cuts will greatly reduce the cost of health care. I'm also taking on the gigantic health insurance companies that have gotten rich on billions of dollars of money that should go directly to the people. The money should go to the people, that's you, so they can buy their own health insurance, which will give far better benefits at much lower costs. It will be far better health insurance. The current Unaffordable Care Act was created to make insurance companies rich. It was bad health care at much too high a cost. And you see that now in the steep increase in premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and they are demanding those increases, and it's their fault. It is not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Unaffordable Care Act, and everybody knew it. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health care at a much lower price. The only losers will be insurance companies that have gotten rich, and the Democrat Party, which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, but that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost. Another major focus is the cost of energy. For years, the radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically drove up prices, and they drove them up at record levels. Electricity costs surged 30 to 100% under Biden, and the typical family lost $5,000 to $10,000 in higher energy costs. Think of that, $5,000 to $10,000 you lost. On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon. And within the next 12 months, we will have opened 1,600 new electrical generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody, or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. The Democrat inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream. The yearly cost of a typical new mortgage increased by $15,000 under Democrat rule. In 11 months, we've already gotten that annual cost down by $3,000, and it's coming down a lot lower. Wait till you see. The numbers are going to be shocking. And I'll soon announce our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Early the new year, and you will see this, in the new year I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens, 100%. In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected, and our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Soon we will host the World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,